Hi everyone, we're doing a group test today and we've got the CB750 Hornet versus the Trident 660, and we've also got the CB650R. So we've got a twin, a triple and an inline four, and we're going to test them for that comfort, the general ride on the road, that suspension feel, basically go through that dashes for that tech, and then finally we'll have a verdict on which one we think is the best. So stay tuned till the end. So here are your riders. You've got me, you've got Rachel, and you've got our dad Alan, and between us we have 113 years worth of riding between us. So I think in theory we should know what we're talking about. So let's crack on with our little test. My turn on the CB650 now. Inline 4, and you feel the difference after riding the Hornet and the triple. The smoothness of this engine's unreal. Engine braking, there seems to be very little when you throttle off. It just meanders, it doesn't slow down. But obviously I've just come off a twin and a triple, which has quite a lot of engine braking. Brakes are very nice. A nice amount of feel to them. Suspension's very nice. Hopefully I'm not stuttering in my voice too much along this bumpy bit of road, which means that the suspension is grafted and working. And yeah, oh, big bump. So yeah, big bump, and it rode across that lovely, very nice suspension. Bars are very wide, but they are pulled forward, so it's not quite as comfy as the Hornet or the Trident. Here we go, our first little practical test. Now the plan here was to find out which one had the best mid-range and which one pulled the hardest. So if you can imagine, we found a bit of dual carriageway, we got all bikes into top gear, 40 mile an hour, and wound the throttle on and see who went first. Now we're just mere mortals, we're not like the bike press, so I had to do it on a dual carriageway. We haven't got free access to race tracks or secret private airstrips. So yeah, bit of dual carriageway, top gear, 40 mile an hour, and open the throttle. And the surprise was the Trident. As you'll see, get lined up, you see me hand, 3, 2, 1, drop and go. Not very high tech, but we're off. But the Trident was away. Now I'll put that down to its very quick, had a very quick action throttle, and it seemed to pick up in a way, but then the Hornet caught it in a way. And I'm sure if we had a bit more time or a bit more road, once the CB650 got revving, it would catch the lot. Now the Trident's got 80 horsepower and 64 newton meters of torque. The Hornet's got 90 horsepower and 74 newton meters of torque, which you can see once it gets going, poof, it's away. And the CB is 94 bhp with 63 newton meters of torque. And like I said, if the 650 had been allowed to rev, it would have quite happily whizzed away, but obviously again we're not allowed to break the speed limits on normal roads. But a little sample here will give you an idea of what it could do. So here we go into a roundabout, and I hang on to the revs a bit more now, let it build, and then give it a good old power out, and you can see whoosh, it's away. So yeah, 650 inline 4 needs to rev to get the best out of it. Good point or bad point, we'll leave that up to you. My turn on the Trident now, and if you've watched my channel before, you know I raved on about this bike. I loved it to bits. I love the way the engine revs so free, it's great, it's a good giggle. But compared to the Hornet, the suspension lets it down. The suspension on this bike, when you hit a bump, well, you just clatter across it. Whereas after riding the Hornet and its big piston single function forks, it just feels so plush. Sitting position's quite canny, I'm not uncomfortable, bars are nice and high, foot peg's good position. Practical test number 2, the sitting test. Hopefully by now this is infamous throughout the internet, is my sitting test. The plan is Mr. Average, hi, that's me, 5'10", 32-inch inside leg. Gives you an idea on what the bike's like for its comfort and sitting position. First up is the Trident. Now we've got an 805mm seat height, but the bike is very thin at the tank and at the centre of the seat there, so your legs go straight down, and as you can see, that's it, flat foot, nice and flat footed, legs slightly bent so you are comfy. Bars are nice and high so you're not leant right forward, a good comfy riding position on the Trident. Turn of the CB650 now, so here we go, 810mm seat height. Now because it's an inline 4, there's a bit more chunk to this bike, the petrol tank's a bit wider, obviously the engine's a lot wider than the Trident. So it does feel a bit fatter and probably feels a bit taller. But I'm still comfy. Foot pegs are a little bit in a sportier position. Legs not too cramped. Flat footed though, bars are quite far forward so you do get pulled into the dash. The Hornet now. So we've got about an 800mm seat height. Look at that. Feet flat down, legs bent, bars nice and high, proper straight back. Very good, comfy riding position, and you can see that little shuffle back, there's plenty of room to get comfy. So I think in the sitting position and comfort stakes, the Hornet could win again. So another point for the Hornet. Jesus, this is lush. My turn on the Hornet now, and it is lovely. It's plush, the suspension's gorgeous, the motor picks up lovely, and it's sweet and it's smooth. Switch gears excellent, sitting position spot on. The whole thing has just got it sussed. Excellent bike. Practical test number 3. Now this is its dashboard, so you can see what instruments you've got on the relative bikes. So here we go, first one up, CB650. CB650 dash now. Now this one sadly is the oldest, so it does have an LCD dash. I mean all the info's that you need. Fuel gauge, gear indicator, rev counter. It does have traction control, but it's either on or it's off, and that's about it for its functionality. So sadly the little CB, its dash is a little bit old, and if you're wondering what the funny bark busters are on for, this is a training school bike, so if it falls over it protects it. So there we go, CB650 dash. Now for the Trident 660 dash. Now this is a mixture of LCD and TFT. So you've got LCD at the top with your rev counter, your gear indicator, your fuel gauge and your speedo, and your TFT's down here. That's going to show us the main menu, so you tick the box. There we go, riding modes. So there's your riding modes there. Now if you want to know more about this dash, obviously I have done a ride report on the Trident already, so go to that one on YouTube and you will see I'll go through the whole dash there. That's just a quick look at it for now in comparison with the other two. The Hornet has the best dash out of the three. It's got a TFT dash and it's a lot of information on there, and There's lots of functionality as well. You can change your dash if you want to. Obviously you've got your modes over here. So you've got sport, standard, rain and user. User you can program. You can alter these while riding along. You don't need to stop. You just hit the mode button. It'll go to sport. Those circles will flash. And once you throttle off, it engages the map. And then don't forget, lastly, you've got your Honda Bluetooth phone connectivity, which you need an app. And obviously we'll do a video for that at a later date. Practical test number 4, exhaust note. Now a lot of people love to know what a motorbike sounds like, so here we go. First up is the Trident, and it's proper whistly triple motor. Secondly is the CB650, which has a good bark to it, especially on the overrun. There's a little pop. And then lastly we've got the Hornet. Now it does have the SC Projects exhaust silencer on it, but everybody knows the standard exhaust sounds better. At last, hopefully the bit you've all been waiting for, our thoughts on this trio here. What did we think of the CB650, the Trident, the Hornet, after riding them all day back to back, jumping from one bike to the other? Well, here it comes, your questions answered, hopefully. I think Alan really wanted the Triumph to win, but for some strange reason he just couldn't get the hang of that throttle. And as I pointed out in the roll-on test, the throttle's really quick, it's really sharp, so when you first jump on it, it does catch you out. Suspension for me, I didn't really like the way it bounced and clattered across the bumps. Rachel loved the size of it, she was really impressed on how little it is, but no, sorry Mr. Triumph, you come third, mainly down to your suspension and your throttle. So sadly, third place for the Triumph. Now for the CB650R. I'd forgotten how nice these are. The motor is lovely and smooth. Alan commented on how sweet and smooth the motor was. Rachel really liked it, found it very familiar to her CB1000, but weirdly enough it felt bulkier and harder for her to paddle backwards and forwards than her own bike, a CB1000, which was rather odd. Not the most comfortable of the bunch because the bars are very low, so Alan's 6-foot frame found it quite leany forwards, so again that put him off that. And sadly the dash, that old-fashioned dash lets the bike down now, which probably when it was new was awesome, but now it just doesn't suit anymore. Would this sell better with a nice new dash? Who knows, but sadly the CB650 comes second. Our winner, the CB750 Hornet. Everyone just loved it. I loved the motor, I loved its dash, Rachel loved its size, how nimble it is, how easy it was to push around. It just fitted so well for Rachel. So much so she's thinking about putting a CB thou in for one, but we'll see. And then lastly, Alan, his 6-foot frame just fitted it. He says it was like an old friend. He just got on it and it felt comfy, happy and at home, which is a good sign for a bike that you've never ridden before. So the CB750, the bike press love it, and so do we. #1 in our hearts. Do hope you've enjoyed this little bit of content on the Hornet. There will be more to come. I'm going to play with the Hornet on its own next time. But as you can see, there's a link to other videos. My channel's getting rather full. So I do hope you enjoy what we do. There's an easy way to tell us. Obviously you can mention it in the comments below. A couple of thumbs up would go quite well. And don't forget to subscribe. So if you like what I'm doing, you know what to do. And hopefully we'll see you on the next bit of content. Bye for now.